Linux is an open source operating system. And what is an operating system? An operating system is nothing but a system software that acts as a bridge between user of the computer and computer hardware. And yeah, when you got any device, you are not interacting with the hardware layer of that device directly. Instead, what you're doing, you are interacting through a software, and with the help of that software only, you're able to reach to the hardware layer of your reach to the hardware layer, right? So now the software that helps you in doing so is nothing but an operating system or a system software. And we came to know that there are different operating system types available, like what say main platforms of operating systems are Windows, Linux, and Unix operating systems. So Windows operating systems, they're very they're mostly known for providing you with a personal user experience. For single user usage, we can prefer to go by Windows operating systems. And coming to Unix and Linux operating systems, they are proven to give their best in continuous, long running activities. And these operating systems are proven for multi user and multitasking activities too. So, mostly organizations, when you get into organizations, real time organizations, you find you are given access to Linux machines the most in the areas of DevOps, in the areas of data science, big data, right? Everywhere Linux is being most widely used. Heard about containers team, Docker, a tool by the name Docker, uh, Kubernetes. These are the tools that are mostly running on top of Linux operating systems. A Docker container is nothing but a Linux operating system. Kubernetes is a container orchestration platform, which you find more and more. What's say Linux activities we do at a larger scale. So thereby, Linux became an essential for every individual in IT to learn. Right, team? So that's where we started off our journey understanding the basics of Linux, and some history we discussed yesterday. We got some overview of Linux operating system, and yeah, who is the contributor of Linux operating systems team? Yeah, the gentleman, his name we discussed yesterday. Linus Torvalds, right? Linus Torvalds is the one, he is the one who contributed to Linux kernel. He did not create Linux operating system from scratch, but he is the one who contributed a lot to a major component in an operating system called kernel. He modified Unix kernel, and from that Unix kernel, he created his own kernel, which is Linux kernel. Did you remember yesterday we talked about kernel? What is the role of a kernel? Yeah, what's the role of a kernel? It is a core component that acts as a bridge between the operating system and the hardware resources. So, Unix kernels are relying mostly on the vendor's hardware resources only. That is what Linus Torvalds modified a Unix kernel and made the operating system to run on any hardware type. That is the reason what we are finding now. Linux operating systems are compatible to run on any hardware type. If you're establishing a company and in that organization, if you want multi-user and multitasking features, and you want an operating system that is continuously running for a long time, multi-user and multitasking, and if you're running on and if you need a platform with a continuous long running activities, the operating system that you got to rely on is mostly either Unix or Linux operating system. If you rely on Unix, you got to purchase the operating system as well as the compatible hardware. But coming to Linux operating systems, you don't need to purchase, You don't need to purchase a dedicated hardware, but you can run the operating system on any hardware type. Here, you're investing mostly over the hardware. That too, the hardware comes at your in your budget, and you're availing the same multi-user and multitasking features, and you're spending only on the hardware because Linux operating systems were made open source, meaning you don't need to purchase the licensing of a Linux operating system. But coming to Unix, you should purchase licensing as well as you should purchase that appropriate hardware. All right, team? So now, is it true? Are Linux operating systems free or not? Let's try to find out. So, team, I'm jumping to a platform called distrowatch.com. Here you find a hell lot of Linux operating systems. These are all various Linux operating systems available. MX Linux, Mint, Endeavor OS. Let me zoom in a bit. Ubuntu, Manjaro, Fedora. Whatever the operating systems you're finding here, these are all flavors of, excuse me, online team. What's wrong? Oh, wow. So just a second, Tushar. This is not a recorded session. I'm live and taking the session online. So what made you feel that way? Yeah, please come, please come. Just a second, team. Since the session was started a bit late, I'm into the subject, team. So online teams, do you have any questions? Some disturbance in sound, okay. Apart from that, allow chat option. Chat for everyone is showing disabled. Okay. Yeah, team. It's not a what's a recorded session. I'm live here, interacting with you. Online team, is there any disturbance from our end? Is it clear? Okay. 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 So what happened yesterday? You can avail a recorded session. Just a second. Yesterday's class was added to YouTube. So I'm sharing the link of yesterday's class so you can get it from here, Tushar. Just a second. Yeah, team. So whoever joined the session today, you can avail the class recording of yesterday's from this link I shared in the chat window. Yeah, so please avail it. Yesterday we didn't discuss much. We explored only the basics of Linux, and we had some overview about Linux operating system. That is it. Okay, what is an operating system? Some introductions only I gave yesterday. Yeah, friends. So let's get back to the discussion. So over here, whatever the operating systems that you're finding, these are all Linux operating systems. MX Linux, Mint. These are all different flavors of Linux operating system. And all these are available for free. You can download them for free and consume them for free. You don't need to purchase any licensing. Let me show you. If I go to Ubuntu, let me just jump to Ubuntu. You get a complete operating system of Ubuntu for free. Let's go to the site ubuntu.com. Yeah, team, I came to ubuntu.com. And if I go to the products part, and if I choose an operating system, let's say Ubuntu desktop, what is the option given here? Download. If you download, that's it. An entire Ubuntu operating system gets downloaded. You got to install it and consume it. That is it. No more, no licensing, nothing involved. You don't need to purchase any licensing. It's a free version of Ubuntu operating system. Now let's talk about Microsoft Windows. Let's say Windows 11 operating system. Download Windows 11. If you go download a Windows operating system, when you try to install it, For the couple of days or so, they give you access to run it for free. But after that, what should you do? You got to enter a valid license, because Windows operating systems are licensed, and all you got to do is you should purchase a license that is valid for some couple of years, and once your license is expired, again you got to purchase and renew your license. Something similar to our antivirus programs, right? But coming to Linux operating systems are free because the Linux kernel, which is created by Linus Torvalds, the kernel program of a Linux operating system is made open source. He made it open source, meaning anybody across the globe, if you are an operating system developer, an operating system architect, if you know operating systems architecture, what you can do is adapt the kernel of Linux operating system and create your own Linux operating system. Let's say Naresh Linux, something like that. That's it. And what we do, let's say we publish it to the web. Anybody across the globe can download our Linux operating system. Yeah, friends. So this way, when Linus Torvalds made a Linux operating system open source, what happened is there are a lot of communities across the globe who started, creating their own Linux operating systems. Yeah, friends. When the kernel of Linux is made open source, what happened? There came a lot of communities across the globe who started creating their own operating systems, like Canonical. There is this organization, Canonical. They created a Linux operating system which is Ubuntu, right? Likewise, Red Hat, they started their free version of Linux, which is CentOS. CentOS comes from Red Hat, which is a free one. But of course, there are some operating systems though, which are in Linux too, which are chargeable. Red Hat Linux is chargeable, team. Rest of all, whatever you're finding, the Linux operating systems in this DistroWatch site, they are all, they are all free to consume. You can download them and you consume them for free. Yeah, team. So just bookmark this site so that you get an idea how many Linux operating systems are there. And coming to Linux, there is one misconception that, Linux operating, yeah, please come. Linux operating systems are, difficult. And Linux operating systems are totally command line based. Well, team, if you explore an operating system called here, Mint Linux, Windows users, you get this Linux operating system coming with the same look and feel of a Windows operating system. Linux Mint, if you go and explore this Linux Mint operating system, when you install it, what do you get? You get the same look and feel of, this Linux operating system, very much similar to a Windows machine. And majority of all the Linux operating systems comes with a UI, a user interface. Linux do have a GUI, graphical user interface. But the thing is, when we are working in real-time environments, we are not provided with a Linux operating system this way. An operating system with a desktop, an operating system with all graphical features, we don't get them. In real time, how we are provided with a Linux operating system means, see friends, let me jump to console.cloudgoogle.com. Just a second, team. In real time, when you are assigned with a Linux machine, all you get is, a black screen. You're greeted with a black screen, something like this. Well, it depends, Jashwant. You can use based on your requirement. You can use Ubuntu Linux or CentOS or Red Hat based on the organization that imposes you with what version. You got to use that. Ubuntu operating system is open source, team. Ubuntu is open source. I said Red Hat is not open source. If we go with Red Hat Linux, Red Hat is one enterprise level of Linux operating system, which when we download or when we want to run Red Hat operating systems, we got to purchase it. Very much similar to Windows operating system. How we purchase the same way. Red Hat Linux machines we got to purchase. Ubuntu is free. Okay. Yeah, fine. Now, team, this is how. The way how you are finding my screen, whatever you're witnessing here, this is a Linux operating system. So in real time, we don't get what say Linux operating systems with a graphical interface. We are given access to a Linux machine this way, and this is where we have to perform all our Linux activities. You want to create a folder, you want to create a file, you want to add some data to a file, create a user, delete a user, install something, remove something. Every activity you have to perform from this black screen only. And in order to fulfill your activities, what should you do? You have to write commands. You got to write commands, team. Okay. So that is where this course, this entire month, we are going to learn only the command version of Linux. Okay. But towards the end, what I would do is I'll give you a complete overview of how to install a graphical interface of Linux within your laptops. Okay, so I'll make sure I'll teach you that too. How to run a Linux operating system with a graphical approach. So there is this operating system in my machine called, I can drop, not working. Okay. Yeah, all right, team. So let me start this Linux operating system. Anyone from cyber security background team here? Anyone's learning cyber security? No? Okay. DevOps only? Fine. If anyone's from cyber security, you get to know about this Kali Linux operating system. It's an offensive operating system that is used for what say securities and hacking for such areas. Ethical hackers, of course, real-time hackers too. They use this operating system the most. Yeah, true. SQL injections. So this is a Linux operating system with a graphical user interface. So we have Linux operating systems with graphical user interface too this way, but unfortunately, what we do is we learn Linux of command line interface only because mostly DevOps engineers and even data science experts, big data analysts, the Linux operating systems that we get in real time is only command based Linux operating systems. So thereby, let's understand the command version of Linux, and then at later point of time, let's jump to this part. Okay. Towards the last week of this month, I will teach you how to install a complete Linux operating system from scratch in your local machines or how to run your virtual machines. We'll discuss this in the towards the end of the course, team. Let's learn the hard part first and then jump towards the easy part, right? So, so that you find yourself the course getting to a graceful end. If not, if we are not going by the hard part first, what happens? That as we progress with the easy part, you find yourself when we are jumping towards the hard part, you skip the classes. So that's the reason I will teach you Linux first, the command line interface, okay, and then we'll dive into the other part. I mean, the graphical approach of Linux operating systems. Yeah, team. So now, in order to practice and get started off with Linux operating systems, first things first, we need a Linux operating system. So how are we going to get a Linux operating system? Yeah. Should we install Linux in our laptops? Yeah, team. What do you think? In order to practice Linux, what should you do now? Go to some hardware guy and ask him to remove your Windows operating system and then ask him to install Linux. No, no need. How many of us got Gmail accounts? All of us, right? All of us got Gmail accounts. So do you know every Gmail user is provided with a free Linux machine? You're already owner of a Linux operating system. If you own a Gmail account, all you got to do is just type console.cloud.google.com. Okay, just jump to this page. If you got a Gmail account, all you got to do is open your laptops and reach to this page console.cloud.google.com. Okay, once you get to this page, you're asked to log in with your Gmail and password. Just enter your Gmail, enter your password, and what happens is, Tim, what happens is we are taken to this page. Once you log into your Gmail, once you log in, over this platform, console.cloud.google.com, you are taken to a Google Cloud Console page. And over here, what happens is towards the top right corner, you find a box, something like this. This box, if you hover mouse on it, you get a message like activate Cloud Shell. Just click over it and that's it. You get a Linux server assigned to you. And whatever you're witnessing now, this is a Linux machine of mine, of my, provided by Google server. Provided by Google. This is my Linux machine. So, in order to practice Linux, all of you, you don't need to install, you don't need to make any configurations in your laptops. For the time being, team, what you can do is, since everyone owns a Gmail account, let me go by my another account. Let me jump to another account. Just a second, team. So this is my another Gmail account where Google account where what am I doing is just say console.cloud.google.com. I'm just typing console.cloud.google.com and I'm taken to this page. Of course, you are asked to log in though. You got to log in with your email and password, and that's it. Now, if you go here, see friends, at the top right corner, you find the square box. What is it saying? Activate Cloud Shell. Just click on it, and that's it. Shortly, we find a Linux server getting assigned to us. Okay, so you can find here connecting. It takes a minute or so, and that's it. You are given access to your Linux server and all the basics. The part one of our concepts of Linux, we can complete them. Even part one and part two. All these activities we can carry out just in that server offered by Google. Okay, so you don't need to install anything. No need of any fancy laptops, high configuration laptops. Yeah, don't insist your parents or anyone to purchase new laptops. If you got a simple laptop where you can open Facebook, WhatsApp, Facebook and YouTube, that laptop is sufficient for you. Right, see friends, now we got a Linux machine and we're good to practice our Linux commands over here. We're good to practice all our Linux activities over here. Right, team? Yeah, online candidates, did anyone give a try? It won't work in mobile, Naveen. Yeah. Yeah, and one more thing, Amit Kumar, anybody who is a student of Naresh IT, these sessions are free, team. No matter you're from, full stack Python or data science or big data or DevOps, the sessions are free for all Naresh IT students. Until tomorrow, the sessions are free for everyone. Okay, but later on, effective next Monday, the sessions are free for, you know, exclusively for Naresh IT students, right? Yeah. So you can find online candidates, they are saying it's working fine for them. Anand witnessed, he said, yes, working, right? Yeah. Which flavor of Linux is this? So the Linux operating system that we're getting here is Ubuntu Linux team. It's a Ubuntu Linux operating system. And guess what? Now, no matter which flavor of Linux you learn, majority of all the commands are the same across all the platforms. Yeah, team, remember, no matter which flavor of Linux you learn, Ubuntu or CentOS or Red Hat or Fedora, whatever it is, majority of all the commands are the same because they are all, what say, the kernel that they own is the kernel developed by Linus Torvalds. So mostly all the commands are the same. Red Hat, Fedora, right? We got Alpine Linux. There are hundreds of flavors of Linux, and all those are same in when it comes to commands. So if you learn one flavor of Linux, not a big deal for you to switch to another flavor of Linux. There are some differences though, but the differences are not that great. Okay, there are some challenges, but they're not that great. Now let's say Honda Unicorn, Bajaj Pulsar, right? FZ150 or FZ version 3. Yep. And let's say TVS Apache RTR 160. And yeah, one more vehicle, let's say Suzuki Intruder. Was that it? So now, team, if you know how to ride this bike, isn't it possible for you to ride the other bikes? Or are there any changes? Like say for Honda Unicorn, the gears are towards the left, and say for Pulsar, the gears are towards the right. Is that so? Yeah, is that so, team? Or all of these bike, what say, companies following the same order? Clutch towards the left. Yeah, for all these bikes, clutch is towards the left or right? Towards the left only, right? So that is what, team. The basics remain the same for all the Linux operating systems, but features might change. Features might change. Like say Honda Unicorn comes with a, let's say, a back tire with a what's a minimal width, whereas for FZ bikes you find the tires are bulk in size, where you can lean and drive the vehicle or ride the vehicle in the turn. What's a in the turnings. You cannot curve down over this vehicle, right? Because the tire size is very small. So there might be some features lacking between these vehicles, but basics remain the same, isn't it? If you know how to drive one vehicle, it's no big deal for you to drive the other vehicles. The same concept here too. Linux operating systems, if you know one version of Linux, it's no big deal for you to explore and understand the other flavors of Linux. Okay, because they are all hailing from the same Linux kernel. Remember, team, all these different versions of Linux are coming from the same Linux kernel, which is created or which is developed by Linus Torvalds. Okay, so don't get confused here with if I learn only Ubuntu, what happens if I am not given Ubuntu server in real time? No issues. You can easily manage to, if we know what are the differences, easily we can manage to switch to the other Linux operating systems too. Yeah, team. So now, okay, again, few questions here. After completion of the course, can I crack interview by putting 5 years experience as a Linux admin? Yeah, you got to put some effort, my friend. 5 years, what I would say is to what's a showcase your skill set as a 5 year Linux administrator, you have to adapt some best features. Like say, for example, team, say for example, what is the command to create a folder here in a Linux operating system? If we were to create a folder, mkdir directory 1, and what's happening? A directory 1 got created. Now say you're given a task to create some 20 directories. Directory 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that up to 20. Now what should we do? Mkdir directory 2, mkdir directory 3. If we go by this approach, that's where you're showing your amateurness. You're not showcasing your skill set as a 5 year Linux admin. So 5 years of admins, what do they do? Mkdir directory, let's say 4 dot dot 20, and that's it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 up to 20 got created in one go. Likewise, now let's say if I want to get into this directory, if I want to get into that folder, my Terraform, what is the command we got to write? cd my Terraform, right? So now cd space my Terraform, this is the command you may type this way and get into that folder. But now, instead of typing that entire name, what real-time experts do, cd space my, and that's it. If they hit tab, what's happening? The directory name is getting automatically filled. So you have to make sure that you adapt some best factors, because 5 years of Linux experience, meaning you are living with that operating system for the past 5 years. So thereby your exposure should project that. Your exposure should project that exposure, meaning that experience. So you have to adapt all such best factors to make sure that you are, what say, to make sure that your experience of 5 years is getting justified. Yeah. Yeah. Well, team. So now let's get into discussion. So if at all you're asked to create a folder in on a Windows machine, how you do things? If I asked you to create a folder on a Windows machine, what we do, team? Just right click. Yep. You just right click and right. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm inside this Linux operating system. Just a second, team. Right click is taking me to this. What's it? Yeah. Okay, fine. Just a second, team. Let me shut this machine down. Now, how to shut down this machine, team? How to shut this machine down? Okay, I'm going to write a Linux command, something like this: sudo init 0, and that's it. With a command, I shut down this machine. Okay, of course, as you said, I can go to the virtual machine and shut it down this way. Right click and what say? Stop the machine or shut down the machine. But instead of that, what we did, we ran a command, and now with that command, what's happening? This operating system is getting shut down. Okay, such shortcuts we're going to learn in this course, team. Okay. Yep. So on a Windows machine, if we were to create sudo init 0, the command is sudo space init 0. This is one quick command to shut down a Linux machine. I'll talk about all them in the later sessions, team, but now let's get started. Let's continue with our discussion. So what's happening here? It's getting shut down though. I think there are some updates happening in the back end. Okay. Fine, team. So on a Windows machine, what we are doing, we are going by creating a directory by right clicking, new folder, and then a folder gets created. But coming to this Linux machine, since there is no graphical interface, right click won't work here. Everything you should do with the help of commands only, right? So now, what should we do when we want to perform some activities in a Linux machine? We should learn some commands. Because this particular screen, whatever we got here, this is called as a terminal. This black screen is termed as a terminal. In a terminal, you should write some commands and get your job done, right? So now, what commands should I write here? How do I know what commands are present in a Linux machine? To understand that, team, just have a look. I'm just typing letter A here. And if I hit the tab key twice, are we getting a list of commands? These are all the commands that begin with letter A. And likewise, if I go and type letter B and hit tab key again twice, these are all the glossary of commands that begin with letter B. So like that, if we go up to letter Z, we got hell lot of commands in Linux operating systems, right? And should we learn all of them? What did we say yesterday? Learn enough to self-correct. What is required for us in our journey, we should learn only those. Instead of learning every minute concept, and spending or wasting our time, what should we do? We got to learn what is required for us, right? So, of course, in this course, we are going to cover a majority of all these commands, at least some 100 to 150 commands we're going to learn. Okay. So, team, there are a lot of commands available in Linux. With these commands, we should get our job done. We should get our tasks fulfilled. Okay. So, just think of this Linux machine as a foreign friend. You got some foreign friend. Now, let's say if I got a friend, he is from Japan and he understands only Japanese language. Now, what should I do? In order to communicate with him, he don't know English. No other languages he know. What should I do? Either I have to communicate with him through a sign language, right? Or I should learn Japanese and communicate with him, isn't it? So the same way, now this is our foreign friend who doesn't know our language. This guy knows only this language. Okay, so what should we do in order to communicate with him? We got to understand his language of commands and we got to interact with him. Okay, so now, team, what are these commands and how should we learn these commands? What do they do is what the course is all about. Right, so now over here, we got connected to a Linux machine. Now, yeah, as I said, this black screen is called as a terminal in which we should run only commands. If you write something else, let's say Hyderabad, immediately you get an error saying that Hyderabad command not found. So this terminal is accepting only the commands, right? Anything other than a command, if you write, you're immediately getting what's a command not found. Right, team? So let's understand those commands though. But before that, let's understand what is this line actually. We're getting some line, right? Printed. What is this line? What is it trying to convey us? Yeah, let's get some idea. So over here, team, the first set of characters prior to this at the rate sign, whatever you're finding, these are termed as hmm, any idea? What is this? What are these characters here? A user who got connected to this Linux machine. The first set of characters here, whatever you're finding, prior to this at the rate sign, those characters are nothing but a user who connected to this Linux machine. Let's say if your email address is satish@gmail.com, when you open your what's say cloud terminal, a Google server, what happens is you get your what's say this prompt this way: Satish at the rate cloud shell, meaning you're connected as a user by the name Satish. In my case, my email address is something like this: projects2488@gmail.com. So thereby, what happened in this Google server, a user got created by my name, projects2488. Yeah, team. A user got created by the name projects2488. And now I'm connected to this Linux machine as a user by the name projects2488. Okay. And second thing, what is this part? After at the rate sign, we are finding cloud shell. What does that mean? Yeah, what does this mean, team? This is nothing but the host name. Every server has a name. Now, don't you think your mobile phones got a name? Or mobile phones, do they have a name? Or smartwatches, do they have a name? Yes or no? If you want to pair up your mobile phone with your smartwatch, what you're doing, you're turning Bluetooth. When you turn your Bluetooth, what's happening? The Bluetooth list of what's say the products, you got to identify the name of your smartwatch. Similarly, every device has a name. And coming to this Cloud Shell, the name of this Cloud Shell is nothing but Cloud Shell here. This is called as the host name. Yeah, team. So the first part represents the user and the second part represents the name of the server, or in simple terms, host name. Next, what else are we finding here? There is a tilde sign. If I zoom in a bit, see friends, we are finding a character here which is a reverse S character, something like that, which we term it as a tilde, TILDE, right? So what is that character? What is this character? What is it trying to convey us? Any idea, team? What is that character? So online teams say root directory, home directory represents we are in home directory, home. Okay. Yeah. So now let's say whenever you whenever you power up your Windows machine, what's happening? You're taken directly to your desktop, isn't it? Now, when you power up a Linux machine, where are you taken to? On a Windows machine, when we are powering it up, what's happening? We are taken directly to the desktop. But when you start a Linux machine, where are you landed? Where are you taken to? Means, yeah, team. So over here, let me explain. Coming to Windows operating systems, what happens is whenever you power up a Windows machine, you are taken to desktop, but the path of the desktop is something like this: C drive. In C drive, there's a directory called users. In that users directory, let's say if you got what's say a user created in Windows by the name Prashanth, you're taken to C drive users Prashanth and then to your desktop. Okay, this is the location where you're landing by default. Okay, by default, when you're powering up your laptops, when you're loading a Windows operating system, your desktop path where you're going means to this location. Now, coming to a Linux machine, where are we being taken to? When we connect to a Linux machine, what's happening is in Linux operating systems, there is a directory by the name root. In that root directory, there are a lot of subdirectories present. I'll talk about them in detail bit later, but for now, in root, there are a lot of subdirectories like let's say bin directory, home directory, var directory, lib, temp, user directory, share, etc. etc. So by default, you are taken into a directory called home, and in that home directory, there is one directory created by your username. So how am I connected to this machine team? With what user account am I connected? Projects 2488, or you can write a query here, who am I? A simple command, who am I? You get your username displayed. So I'm connected as user projects 2488. So now here in root directory of that Linux machine, there is home. And in that home directory, there is a directory created by the name projects 2488. And I'm currently in that location. And that location, shortly, it is it is represented by this tilde character. Yeah, that location is simplified and given to you as a tilde character. Now you tell me, where am I present in this Linux machine? In which location am I present now? /home root / in that there is a directory called home. In that home there is a directory called projects 2488. I'm in that location. Okay, so if you want to know, you can run a command here, pwd, print the working directory. And now are we getting it, team? Where are we present? In root, this first character is the absolute beginning of a Linux file system. In that root, there is a directory called home, and inside that home directory, we got a directory by the name of this user called projects 2488. Now, whatever the files that I create, what's happening here? All the files and directories are all falling into this /home /projects 2488. All my work is being saved into this particular directory structure. Okay, yeah. So is this course for complete beginners, as I don't have any prior knowledge? Yes, Naveed, this course is for beginners only, and we are still at the beginner level only. Okay, Yeah, so over here team, pwd, when I run the command, I get to know where am I present. By default, if you find this character, you are present in your current user's workspace, right? /home/projects2488. Yeah, did we get some insights about this line? What is it conveying us? How you are connected to a Linux machine, with what username? Second thing, what is the name of your machine? Followed by that, you're getting this tilde character, meaning where are you present? In that Linux operating system, where are you currently? If you create any files or directories, where are they getting created? Means in this particular user's workspace only, all your files and directories are getting created. And team, don't worry about this line. It is nothing but my project name in my Google server. Just ignore this line. You don't find it in other Linux machines. But towards the end, we are finding something called a dollar sign. What is this dollar? Yeah, what is this dollar sign? Root user, okay. Yeah, what is this dollar sign, team? Now, in this class, there are students and there is a trainer, right? Now, you're all students and I am a trainer. So, since I'm delivering the content, let's say I'm given some high privileges here, right? My seating is different, right? And my system from where I am teaching you all. Now, coming to you, you are possessing the position as students, right? Similarly, in operating systems, we have two categories of users. One is a powerful user called a root in Linux machines, whereas in Windows, we call him as an administrator. Very good. In Windows machines, we have a very powerful user called an administrator. But coming to Linux, we have a user called root. And this root guy is the most ruthless guy. He's the most powerful user. And, he can do whatever he want to. I mean, if I am a root user, I can create users, delete all the content, whatever I wish, I can do that because I have that complete privilege. Okay. Even Linux, Windows administrators too, they are the powerful users. They have complete control over Windows operating systems. Now, if I am connected as a root user, what happens is here in this prompt, we find in place of this dollar sign, what character? A pound sign, this one, a hash character. But if you're finding a dollar sign, it means you are connected as a normal user. Okay, it means you are connected as a normal user. So now what does this mean, team? Here the user projects 2488, he is a normal user or root user. He is a normal user. Okay, so dollar sign here represents the user type. What user, sorry, with what user credentials are you connected? You are connected as projects 2488, where this guy, he is a very normal user. He don't have more privileges at all. But whenever we connect as root, what happens is this dollar gets replaced as a pound sign or a hash sign. We'll see how to connect to root users a bit later, but for now, this is what this line is conveying as what user, with what user credentials are you connected, your host name, where are you present, as well as what is your, what is your prominence here? Are you a root user or are you a normal user? If you find dollar, it means you're a normal user. Yeah, team. So, key takeaways of this session today, we didn't discuss much. We again discussed about Linux operating systems only. Linux operating systems are derived from Unix operating systems, and Linux operating systems do have the factors which are multi-user and multitasking. Multiple users can connect to Linux operating systems and carry out their operations simultaneously. They're very best for continuous, long running activities. They are very secure. So if possible, team, tomorrow I'm going to show you this multi-user and multitasking concept. Okay, I'll create a server in the cloud, sorry, in the cloud, and I'll pick some of you, right? And I'll ask you to log in. All of us, we are going to connect to one single machine. And you are going to run some commands. I'm going to run some commands. And let's find whether this multi-user and multitasking is correct or not. Yeah, let's try to get that proven in the session tomorrow. Continuous long running activities too, as we progress, we'll get to know about that. I'll deploy a website. I create a server in the cloud and I run a website. Let's see. Let's leave that server running for 2 to 3 days. Let's find, are we getting response from that website or not every day, checking every day, and try to conclude whether Linux machines are very best for continuous long running activities or not. Right? And yeah, next thing, today what we discussed is we got some overview about the terminal access of Linux. And don't worry, even we have graphical interfaces of Linux too. But let's learn the hard part first. Let's understand Linux operating systems with command line interfaces, and then we'll jump into graphical interfaces. Quick question, team. We have cars of two types: automated cars and manual cars. If you learn a manual car and then if you jump to an automated car, do you find it easy? Or if you learn an automated car and then jump to manual car, you find it easy? First you learn manual, then it becomes easy. You don't find it difficult at all to learn an automated car. But if you learned automated vehicle and you are given a manual car, that's it, right? What happens? You get confused at how to, shift the gears, when to use a clutch. All those are not taught to you when you go by a learning an automated car and then shift to a manual car. So that is where we are learning here the hard part first, understanding command line interface, then we'll shift to the graphical approach rather than learning graphical interface first and then getting back in trouble understanding manual approach. All right. So I will teach you all the commands. There are a hell lot of commands. So today I want you all to make sure you connect your Google Cloud servers and do this simple task. Just hit letter A, tab twice. How many commands are you finding? Likewise, letter B, tab twice. How many commands are you finding? Just do this simple task. That's it. Don't put much stress here, team, and just try to find how are you connected. What is the username given to you? What is your host name? Are you connected as a root user or a normal user? And where are you present? Just try to experiment so that tomorrow, yes, team, we got a session. Our classes are happening, Monday through Sunday. Saturday, Monday through Saturday, we have classes 6 days a week. Okay, 6 days a week. I definitely need 30 working classes. So I need 30 classes for sure. So definitely our classes are going to end not by 31st of this month. Maybe since we are not connecting Sundays, definitely we have our classes happening till the first week of, the next month. Yeah, I'll end this course of Linux concepts by the first week of the next month. Yeah, team, because I definitely need 30 classes. Okay, so excluding holidays and excluding all Sundays, I want 30 sessions to happen, 30 live classes to happen. So thereby this course will continue till the first week of the next month, first week of September, first week of September, we'll get this course to an end. Okay. Yeah, the sessions are getting recorded, team, and we'll share them with you. But please make sure that effective Monday, tomorrow too, the class is free for others who are joining. But effective Monday, the classes are exclusively only for NareshIT students. No matter you're from DevOps or data science or big data or full stack. If you are a student of Naresh, you can access these classes effective Monday. Okay. Yeah, team. So just make sure one more best practice I want you all to adapt is once done with the course, Once you're done with the course, please make sure you spend at least some 10 minutes of time closing your eyes, recollect what you learned, make a summary page. Today I learned what we learned today, how to avail a server, a free Google server, a free Linux server from Google platform. I understood that I gained access to something called a terminal. The terminal understands my language? No, understands only commands. So I have to learn commands, right? And even though Linux has a GUI, I should learn what's a command line interface only, because the reason, majority of all the real-time organizations provide you with command line interface of Linux only. And I understood that if I type a letter A and hit tab key twice, I'm getting a bunch of commands, right? And followed by that, I learned something that in a terminal there is a line which is called as a bash, what's a bash prompt. I understood about that bash prompt. The first part is username. The second part of that line is host name, and followed by that a tilde character I've encountered today, and that tilde character is nothing but my user workspace. And I came across a dollar character which represents a normal user. If there is a hash sign, I got to understand it's a root user. So this way, team, what should you do once you learn something? Make sure that you recollect from that session what you learned. So ilaga మీరు whatever the technology you are from, data science or big data, whatever it is, మీరు కొన్ని సమ్మరీ పేజెస్ క్రియేట్ చేసుకుంటున్నారు అనుకోండి ఎవ్రీ క్లాస్ నుండి. For this Linux, 30 summary pages you get. DevOps course, let's say 90 days of DevOps classes, 90 summary pages, right? Data science, maybe 6 months అనుకోండి course. Yeah, 180 summary pages you're getting. Now, don't you think when you face your interviews, whatever you learned and you mentioned in your summary pages, are you not getting the questions from those summary pages? Yep. Then how your interviews are difficult? Then how do you think your interviews are very difficult? Because all the questions you're getting from what you learned only, and you witnessed, and you are admitting yourself that these are the concepts that I learned every day, and you have all the summary within your hand. So that's what, team, adapt some best practices so that it becomes easy for you to get your job. Okay. Well, team, so let's call it a day and continue again in the session tomorrow. Tomorrow's class, I will discuss few important concepts. I'll explore some high level commands and everything, and I'll give you an assignment tomorrow that you can spend that assignment in, during your weekend and join for the classes again on Monday. Okay. So the classes are going to be Monday through Saturday. Sundays, we don't take any sessions. Yeah. And definitely for sure, I need 30 days of time to complete and give a complete justification to this Linux course. So your course will end by the end, by the first week of September, right? And one more thing, the sessions are only for NareshIT students effective Monday. So please make sure if you're willing to enroll, complete your enrollments by tomorrow. Yeah, team. That's all, friends, for now. And I'll see you again in the next session, right? For sure, Vinay, you can apply for Linux administration positions. Yeah, for sure. Well, team, the sessions are only for 1 hour, and yeah. Well, Aniket, I will. Yeah, friends, just a second. Some of your questions. I'm not ignoring them, team, but yeah, I'll make sure I'll take some of your questions and address them tomorrow, team. Okay, because I'm running out of time. Yeah, there is a session tomorrow, the same time. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Google server, you don't need to shut it down. It keeps on running all the time. No need, no need. It keeps on running. Even we write, let's say sudo init 0, it doesn't shut down because it's a server that keeps on running all the time. Okay. Yeah. No, no, nothing, nothing. We yesterday had only some overview of what is Linux, who developed Linux operating system, some history. That's what I tomorrow I'll provide you the notes. Yeah, this is the link where you can find Linux class of yesterday. Okay. Yesterday's Linux class is uploaded to YouTube. Even this class is added to YouTube. Okay. Yeah. 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 Please, sorry. Sorry. Just a second. Yeah. Finding online candidates. We did not cover much today. True. But yeah, because when compared to yesterday, there are some more additional participants who joined online as well as offline. That's the reason I touched only the basics. Once we get once we get a the class with a standard amount of students, I'll make sure I'll speed up the classes. Okay. Tomorrow too, we find how many are joining. Accordingly, we'll decide and we'll speed up the classes. Yeah, team, don't worry. I know when to take the sessions a bit faster, but for now, yeah, we're going a bit slow because I have to align with every student because some of you are from IT background, some of you from non-IT. So I got to make everyone, to understand the concepts. I need some time to have an interaction with every student, and accordingly, we'll speed up the classes. Yeah, team. And some of your questions are left not addressed, but don't worry. Tomorrow I'll take some good amount of time and address all your queries, team. Yep. Right, friends. That's all for now, and I'll see you again in the next session. Thank you.